Welcome to a new series from D1Baseball.com. We are calling Fourth Coach Conversations. I am the host, Michael Patrick Rooney, from the Fighting City of Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, and we are super excited for this third installment of Fourth Coach Conversations. Before we get to the guests, let me thank our sponsor. This is brought to us by our presenting sponsor, Netting Professionals. Netting Professionals specializes in the design, fabrication, and installation of custom netting for college baseball programs all around the country. The next time your field or facility needs something new, make sure you check out Netting Professionals. These guys are awesome. Will Miner and his crew, they're tremendous sponsors of our sport, really involved. I know they're listening tonight. I mean, these guys just love the sport. And, I've always said, college baseball is not always the sport that gets as much support as we probably feel we deserve. But Netting Professionals is one of the people that is always there for us. So, again, encourage everyone to reciprocate that, and whatever needs you have. They got a great product. These guys are phenomenal, and we really appreciate their help with this series. So again, special thanks to Netting Pros. So gentlemen, Fourth Coach Conversations. As I said last week, I'm an alum. I'm a former volunteer coach at Arizona State way back at the turn of the century, which is scary. But, this is an interesting thing that we have in college baseball, where the entry-level position on a college baseball coaching staff at the Division I level is a volunteer position. You can't recruit off campus. You can't have benefits or be paid by the school. It's just really problematic. It's really, if I could be pejorative, it's the dumbest thing in the world. But that said, you guys have these incredible roles. I mean, you guys are Division I baseball coaches. You're the fourth member of Division I. You're coaching Division I baseball athletes. And so this is a chance for me to get to know you guys better, for the audience to get to know you guys better. I want to get to know you, more than I already know. I want to talk ball with you, give you guys a chance to get to know each other as well. So really excited for this. So I gave you the order. Danny, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to try and talk as little as possible and let you guys do the talking. So here's what we're going to start with, kind of like a bio resume introduction. So I want your hometown, whatever you would consider your hometown where you grew up, and then just give me the data points along your career. You don't have to go into detail, but where you played, could be, high school, college, and on, and then where you've coached and where you are now. So Danny, you kick us off.
Sure. Grew up in Long Beach, California. Went to Los Alamitos High School. Then I went to Irvine Valley Junior College locally in Orange County. And then took my plane to St. John's in New York City. Got an opportunity to play for Ed Blankmeyer, Hall of Famer for the ABCA, and ended up having an opportunity to sign free agency or to start coaching my coaching career, and decided to go the route of coaching. And I started at Long Beach State. I was there for 4 years. Moved on to go back east at St. John's. Was a volunteer there for 3 years. Became the recruiting coordinator at Manhattan College, a small Division I school out in New York City. And then I got the opportunity to come back to the West Coast and coached at San Diego State for 2 years as the volunteer, and took a few years off, and then got the opportunity from head coach Jason Dietrich, who just recently got hired at Fullerton, to be his volunteer at Cal State Fullerton.
Love it. Hey, make sure, guys, you say your names. I'll say Danny Benedetti. Hey, Danny, so, all right, I get two questions for you. First of all, you only do coasts. I love that. New York and LA. It's perfect. Although you
Sure.
did dominate, you've had stretches in the Northwoods League, which I love. So I got two follow-up questions for you. Irvine Valley, you played for Coach Dietrich, who's now your boss again. I need the nickname of Irvine Valley College, and then I need you to just give me Coach Blankmeyer, who literally is a Hall of Famer. I want his greatest strength as a leader of a college baseball program. Two-parter.
Sure. Irvine Valley, we were the Lasers.
The Lasers, yes.
Yeah. So, and then the strengths of head coach Blankmeyer, who's now no longer at St. John's, but with the Brooklyn Cyclones, with the Mets. But his strengths were he was a player's coach. He really cared about his players and cared about his staff, and he put his heart and dedication into every day of practice and caring about the kids on and off the field. Just a truly great man.
That's well said. Just a truly great man. Hey, so I don't want to harp on this, but Irvine Valley was originally the Lasers, like Austin Powers
Sure.
laser, like that. That's what it was.
Laser beams, I think. It's in Irvine, like I said.
Okay.
And very, very intelligent area of Orange County, California.
Makes sense.
A lot of scholar people came out of that area, and they ended up going to UCI and moving on.
Love it.
So
Go Lasers.
I think it was more the development end. Sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Zeke, you go next.
I'm Zeke Pinkham. I'm from a small town in central Kentucky called Elizabethtown, Kentucky. It's about 40 miles south of Louisville. I went to E-Town High School, graduated in 2015. I played at the University of Louisville from 2016 to 2019. I was able to go to two College World Series. I coached there during the COVID year as a graduate assistant. And 2021 was my first year at Georgia Tech as a volunteer, and I'm currently going into my second year there.
Zeke, we covered it off air before that Dan McDonald, who is is awesome. Like he's a living legend of our game. Mac still calls it Louisville. It's one of my favorite things in college baseball. He just not giving in. Will not let the Kentucky guys like you talk him into saying Louisville. I love it.
No, not at all. He'll never let that go. He'll always say Louisville no matter what.
It's so great. I love it. Curt, you go next.
Kirk Courtright. I'm from Lincoln, Illinois. That's where I grew up my whole life. From there, I played at Missouri State University for 4 years. After that, I think I had probably the shortest stint in pro ball, 1 game. So I did that for 1 game, and then I went straight into coaching. I was a high school head coach for 3 years. Then I went to Rend Lake Junior College. I was there for 1 year. Then I went to Eastern Illinois University. I was the volunteer there for 3 years, and now I'm going 4th year at University of Illinois.
All right, Curt, follow-up question. Where is Lincoln, Illinois?
It's right in the middle of the state, so it's between Springfield and Bloomington. Those are the 2 bigger cities near us, so about 15,000 people. So
yeah, I don't know the name of your high school, but I know the answer to the second part of the question, and I need you to say it out loud because it's so awesome. So I need your high school name and your mascot.
Yeah, so Lincoln Rail Splitters.
Gosh,
So
dang it.
not many rail splitters in the world.
Go Splitters. Now, I will tell
That's
you,
right.
Curt, there's a Lincoln High in the city of Philadelphia also called the Rail Splitters. I love that. So
Really?
I think
I didn't
so.
know
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the crazy mascot names. That's excellent.
Yeah.
And I love that you played at Missouri State. We'll come back to that. So, Winnie, go ahead.
Yeah, Sean Winston. I'm from Richland, Washington. I was at Richland Barn High School, and out of high school, I went to Lower Columbia College. Played for Kelly Smith at the junior college in the NWAC. From there, transferred to Hawaii Pacific University. Played 2 years for Garrett Yukamoto there for the Sea Warriors. And then after that, got right into coaching. I moved to Tempe, Arizona, I guess, and then started coaching at Paradise Valley Community College under Vic Solis, who's been there and started the program at Paradise Valley, I think, back in 2010. From there, spent 2 years as a volunteer at Abilene Christian University, where I was part of the staff with Britt Bonneau that transitioned the program from Division II to Division I, and then got on with Gonzaga University 7 years ago, and have been at Gonzaga for the past 7 seasons as the volunteer here.
Winnie, I had no idea you were a Richland Bomber. That is amazing. One of my favorite Richland Bombers of all time, the great Travis Buck. It's awesome.
Sure. Yeah, Travis,
and
Travis goes back with my family years back. My brother and Travis played the middle infield together, going up from Little League all the way through high school. So I know Travis fairly well and am a big fan for sure.
Yeah, and I'm excited to dive into Gonzaga a little bit later. Your program I got a stat I found on Gonzaga baseball that just blows me away. It's amazing what the Zags have accomplished in baseball in addition to basketball. So, love it. Jack, go ahead.
Thanks, Runes. Jack Hawke, originally from Monmouth County, New Jersey, a little town called Rumson, right on the Jersey Shore. Went on to play at Bard College in upstate New York. And I actually coached there for 2.5 years before I went to Post University, a Division II school in Connecticut. Then after that, I went to coach at Vassar College, also in upstate New York, in Poughkeepsie. And now I've been at Harvard for just over a month now, and I'm loving it. So real excited about it.
That's awesome. So Jack, I've outed you as you were a math major in college, which makes you, no offense to the rest of us, but I think makes you the smartest person on this call. Hardest class you took to become a math major, to get that degree.
Yeah. I hope
All
I'm
of them?
not right.
Yes.
Don't be the smartest one in the room, right? But I would say probably abstract algebra was pretty tough. It's just algebra from a theoretical standpoint. It was a tough one for sure. But
Yep. God bless you. God bless you for finishing that. All right, boys, let's keep whipping around. Danny, I'm going to come back to you. So what I want to do now is we're going to go area of expertise. And this, like I would expect there's several answers, right? Like, hey, I'm comfortable teaching catching, base running, hitting. What are the areas on the field, pitching, whatever it is that you feel comfortable teaching and coaching right now? Danny, you kick us off.
I'll start with catching. I was a catcher at Irvine Valley, LaSalle, and then Irvine Valley, then to St. John's, and worked with the catchers at Long Beach State and now at Cal State Fullerton. And then I would say hitting. Those are the two areas of expertise that I would say I work with that are my best attributes.
Cool, perfect, and we'll come around to some core beliefs in those areas. Zeke, go ahead. You're
Sure.
kind of the things you consider your areas of expertise.
I'm going to say catching and hitting as well. I caught at Louisville from 2016 and 2019. I was able to work with catchers there when I was the graduate assistant in 2020, and I still currently work with catchers here at Georgia Tech. I also assist James Ramsey with the hitting, and I help Danny Burrell as well with pitching too, and con pitches and in-game management stuff. But catching and hitting is definitely the two for me.
Love it. I love how many catchers we've already had on these calls. That's good for the game when catchers get involved in coaching. Curt, go ahead.
I'd say for me, infield and hitting. I do outfield actually at Illinois because our assistant Adam Chris does infield, but I was an infielder my whole life, so comfortable with that. And then I also do base running here at Illinois. So I'd say those things.
Perfect. Winnie, go ahead.
Yeah, I do quite a bit with the infield side of things at Gonzaga. Assist Coach Mack with the hitters as well. Work on base running in the short game is something that we take a little pride into as well at Gonzaga. But infield would probably be the number one.
Awesome.
Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, so I coach the catchers at Harvard. It's my primary responsibility here, as long as assisting Brian Stark, our recruiting coordinator, with the hitters. I'd say my element, it would also probably be base running and outfield play also. I was an outfielder in college, so that's kind of where my element lies.
Awesome. Love it. All right, cool. Danny, whipping back around to you. So here's what I want to do, boys. So take any of the areas that you guys just mentioned, just pick one of them that, whatever you feel like, the area you're most passionate about. And I want you to, let's say you pick hitting, whatever you pick. And I want you to try to, this is hard, but try to give me your core beliefs in that area in 3 sentences or less. So if you pick catching, try to give me maybe you're going to miss some stuff, but some of the things that are most important to you in that area, 3 sentences or less. So Danny, go ahead.
I would say that catching would be the area of my expertise that I work with on a daily basis. 3 sentences about catching would probably be: number 1, catch the baseball. Number 2, you're trying to be as quiet as possible. You don't want any distractions when you're behind the dish. Pitching and defense win games. And then block everything.
I love it. Catch it. Catch the dang thing. I'm like, when I'm at a scrimmage or a game and the catcher is struggling, I find myself being the get off my lawn guy. It gets me really agitated. And I know catching is really hard, but yes, love what you just said there, Danny. Zeke, go ahead.
I as well will say catching as my expertise, and my number 1 thing as well will be catch the baseball. It's the first 5 letters of the position. You have to be able to catch the baseball. 2 would probably be leadership. You got to be a leader behind the plate. And 3, presence. You got to have a good presence as you're in every play. Nobody wants to throw to a guy or look at a guy all game that has bad body language. So you got to have that neutral presence about you, that you don't get too high, don't get too low, and you're just going to be the same guy.
Zeke, I'm stealing that. It's the first 5 letters of the position. Thank you for that. That is beautiful. Oh, excellent. Curt, go ahead.
I'll go with hitting. For me, it's, I guess, tempo, timing, good body position, attack strikes, and attack the inside half of the baseball.
Oh, that's excellent. Gosh dang, that's well done. I don't even think you got one sentence right there. That's good.
I mean, those
good
are the
clock
things.
management
Pretty
right
simple.
there, Curt. Yeah, I
pretty
love
simple.
it. Well done. Good. Winnie, go ahead.
Yeah, I think infield, glove presentation. We talk about kind of 2 rules at Gonzaga in terms of keeping our palm towards the baseball and our hands apart are kind of the 2 rules that we have. Playing with good energy behind the pitcher. I don't think if you don't have good energy in the dirt playing in the infield, that is a struggle in terms of what the full defense is trying to do. And then playing good catch, I think, is extremely important for the infield.
Love that. So, Winnie, when you say palm to the baseball, like you're saying that most infielders, their gloves kind of sideways and they pop it open at the last second. And so you guys try to kind of pre-correct that. Is that the theory there?
Yeah, we want good glove presentation. Flipping the glove or bringing your hands together, I think, just eliminates or it causes an extra movement before you're going to field the ball. So eliminating that so you can kind of adjust to a hop is a big focus in our program. We believe that if you catch the baseball, 99% of the time you're going to make a good throw at this age between 18 and 22 that you can play good catch across the field. So our main focus is just catching the thing.
Yeah, nothing good happens if you don't catch it. That's it. Well said. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go with hitting also. First thing is, John Daly hit it hard. The harder you hit it, the more likely it's a hit. So hit it hard for sure. Second thing will probably be just balance and timing. I think balance and timing kind of go together. It's hard to be very balanced and very off time and vice versa. And then third thing is athleticism. Just empowering the hitters to utilize their body the way that they are, the way that their bodies are kind of designed, so to speak, to efficiently move and to just be athletic and be free.
Jack, is that a hard sell with today? I never got to work with hitters in the exit velocity era. Is it hard to convince hitters to kind of like let themselves go there, or hitters, or is this generation naturally that stuff's wired into them? They're okay kind of letting it rip like that.
Yeah, I think hitters want to do it, but I think it gets a little bit confounded at times, being letting it fly, as you said, versus being in control. We still want to be athletic. We still want to be in control. We still want to work within what our body's limitations are, but it's taking the handcuffs, hopefully taking the handcuffs off of players where they may have a lot of overcoached movements, or they're trying to perform this very specific, very defined, very prescribed set of actions when they don't really need to, and having not really one specific like way to hit, or you have to do this, and this, and just kind of letting yourself organize to hit the ball hard.
Awesome. Love it. All right, boys, here, let me ask you this question. So I want you to think about your current boss. Some of you guys have been with these staffs for, just a few months. Others, like Danny, obviously you've known Coach Dietrich since you were a player. So I want you to think, I think that's part of the deal as being any assistant coach, right? You probably aspire to be a head coach someday, and you're taking notes, right? You're watching your bosses handle things. You're watching the way they set the tone for their programs. So I want you to think about your current boss. And I would love you to share like a takeaway strength, like something that really jumps out that has struck you so far as something that, dang, like that is something that really has my attention in a positive way. Danny, you kick us off.
His attention to detail. Coach Dietrich as a pitching coach when I played at Irvine Valley, was very on top of things and held us accountable for everything that we did, and expected us to do it at a high level. And watching him now from being an assistant to now a head coach and having that opportunity, it's pretty fun to watch him stand back and be able to assess and evaluate and basically understand, what we have and where we're at being a new staff and trying to figure out our players. He takes everything in and then basically evaluates, what we do at practice, and then discusses it with the players and then also with the coaching staff on a daily basis. He communicates really well and allows us to do our job. He's not micromanaging much of anything. He trusts that the hire that he has in all three of us and the staff, the support staff, that we're going to do a good job and we're going to do it at a high level. So
Danny,
that's pretty fun to see.
Yeah, Coach Dietrich is awesome. The only thing that stinks about Coach Dietrich is that this is Jason Dietrich, who's now the head coach at Fullerton. You know what stinks about Coach Dietrich, who I love? What stinks about him is his humility, because his pitching staffs never walk any human beings. And then you go to a clinic and you're dying to know how he can get, like Thomas Eshelman, to have more games won than walks allowed in a college career. And he just won't, he won't brag about himself. So it's like, yeah, it's brutal. But hey, let me ask you this follow-up.
Credit for anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll not take credit for it, not even at gunpoint. So when you say he's meticulous about details, do you, and this is kind of a one or the other, but both are right answers, do you see that more in as things you're preparing for practice or a game, or do you notice it more in the feedback after a practice or a game?
Both, actually. Even in the office in the mornings, we have a staff meeting, go over practice, go over recruiting. And then following practice, we do the same thing, just kind of try to better ourselves as a staff, not just individualize each other and try to figure out from position to position what we need to get better at and how we can, better ourselves as a club, and what we need to do to fix those problems or those areas that we need to work on.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Zeke, go ahead. Give us your boss and a big takeaway you've had so far.
Danny Hall is my boss, and the biggest thing that I think I take away from Coach Hall is his ability to lead by example. He's going into, I think, his 28th or 29th year at Georgia Tech, and he has over 1,300 wins, so he's been around the game a long time, and he does such a good job of being serious with the players, but they know they can come to him, and he has their utmost respect, and he does the little things. He will help clean up the cage. He will go grab a rake and rake the field. He'll help take the tarp off. He'll do a lot of little things that you don't see 67-year-old head coaches do. And he just does a really good job of leading by example and getting the most out of his guys. And it's something that I noticed from day one as soon as I got there. And it's something that I want to instill in myself as I grow older as a coach.
He looks 47 too, Zeke. You got any trade secrets on that? Like, how's he looking so young, Coach Hall?
He looks amazing for his age. I joke with him all the time. I was like, man, I hope I look as good as your age. I said, honestly, I hope I'm still around at your age. And he started laughing.
That's great. I love it.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Curt, go ahead. Your boss and a big takeaway so far.
Yeah, so our head coach is Dan Hartlibb. I'd say the biggest takeaway I've had is just a top-notch human being. I mean, everywhere, it doesn't matter if we're in the office, at the field, whatever. He's one of the best guys I've ever met. He's genuine. I can't believe how many times he says thank you about little things. If anybody does anything, thank you very much. That's just something that just kind of blew me away. And then just same thing as saying, like, if something needs done, he just goes and does it. He doesn't, make me go do it or anything. If there's a leaf on the field, like, he's going to go pick it up. He's not going to tell somebody else to go do it. So same thing, leading by example, just a genuine human, cares about people. So that's probably the thing that I guess look up to him for, just how he treats people all the time.
Yep. Love it. Go ahead, Winnie.
Yeah. Mark Mack, the head coach at Gonzaga, he's been there close to 30 years, I believe. What jumps out to me would be the word respect. His ability to respect the players in terms of if you're the best player or, number 35 on the roster, he treats the guys fairly. He also, he tells us and tells the team just about every day, he wants you to respect the people in the community. He wants you to respect, the professors in the classroom and hold you accountable. And then I think he's extremely respectful to, the coaching staff that's working for him. He gives us a ton of freedom in terms of what we, think will help the program and on any given day in terms of the game or practice, he, respects our opinion and really takes that into consideration when he's making the final decision.
Love it. I'm going to come back to you in 1 second, Winnie, and I want to ask you about Coach Evans, Danny Evans. But Jack, go ahead. Tell us about who your boss is and a big takeaway so far.
Yeah, so head coach at Harvard, my boss is Bill Decker. He's been coaching for longer than I've been alive, as many of your bosses have too. He reminds me of it very often. He's an unbelievable human being. He really puts the person first, whether that be players or the staff or anybody. If there's ever a personal matter, hey, go take care of it, whatever you need to do. He doesn't hold us to any kind of professional hours or anything like that. He's always focused on the person first and foremost. But also I've said this before to people, but I put it like he is serious, but he doesn't take himself too seriously. And I think that blend is something that he has just mastered over the course of his career. He'll bark at somebody and just something about him. He just you don't take it personally, like players especially. And, he'll just kind of shout and be kind of serious, and he'll just kind of look and wink over and he winks a lot. I guess it's his thing, but he's mastered that blend of being approachable but also stern and serious when he needs to be, but also just I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's awesome working for him for sure. And he lets us work as assistants. He kind of does everything really well as a head coach. That's
great. And you're right. That's a real art form, that whole, personable and be the taskmaster when needed. So, all right. Hey, Winnie, before let me come back to you. So Danny Evans is your guys' recruiting coordinator. When I think about what you guys have accomplished at Gonzaga, it feels like Danny has been there. And now he's a Phoenix guy. We got to recruit him at Arizona State. He went to Gonzaga. He's as much of a part of the program as Coach Mactoff is. And, it's amazing. I'll brag at Gonzaga for a minute. I mean, you guys are the northernmost program in the WCC, which is really a warm weather Southern baseball league. I mean, you think about all the California schools. Pepperdine's won a national championship. I mean, this is a 10-team, really good league. And Gonzaga, way up in Spokane, has finished first or second in this league 7 of the last 8 years. I mean, that's really incredible when you think about we are, in fact, an outdoor sport. So Coach Evans had contracted cancer, I believe, during last season. And, obviously going through the treatments. And if you don't mind, Winnie, can you just give us an update on how Coach Evans is doing?
Yeah, no, I'd be glad to. Coach Evans was actually Coach Mactoff's, I think, first hire when Coach Mack got the head job. So Danny's been with the program, I want to say, 18, 19 years maybe as a coach, and then, four as well as a player. So he's as big a part of this movement with Gonzaga, just as maybe as Coach Mack. So anyway, yeah, Danny got diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma in late May last year. So anyway, he's going through his battle right now. He is doing fairly well. He's extremely upbeat and positive about the situation. He's going through a handful of treatments. He had a surgery a few weeks back that he was successful, and he has recovered fairly well from. And he was in the office a couple days ago on Friday in terms of talking baseball and wanting to know what we're doing at practice. So he's extremely positive with the situation, and he's still communicating with us and talking with us every day of how we can get this team better going forward to this spring season.
Yeah. Well, appreciate the update, and please tell Coach Evans we're asking for him. Just one of my all-time favorite people in our sport, and obviously we are pulling for him hard. So thank you for that. Hey, Danny, let's come back to you, and we'll go this next round. So I think this is an interesting question. There are limitations to the volunteer position, the fourth coach position in college baseball, and a lot of us have opinions on it, but the opinions that matter the most are your guys. You're the ones living it. And so what I'd like you to do, and some of you guys have been in this volunteer role for several years, I'd like you to just pick one of the limitations that bothers you the most or you think holds you back the most. Which is the one you would eliminate if you could only eliminate one of the restrictions that are placed on you? So go ahead, Danny. You go first.
The opportunity to recruit would be awesome. I think the last couple of podcasts you've had, most everyone has said something like that. I think there's a misconception from university staff that don't understand, and this is my personal opinion, done this for quite a while at this position, and I think there's a misconception of every university not understanding that even though the volunteer could be a paid position, that you don't have to pay them, and potentially giving somebody that opportunity to go on the road and recruit and have those experiences and being with coaches from other schools and chatting with them and giving them an opportunity for them to get to know you gives you an opportunity to be on the road and maybe have an opportunity to move up the ladder, I guess you could say. And I think a lot of schools vote no on that because they think they have to financially pay for that position. I think that's a misconception, and I think it needs to be more detailed when it comes to having the opportunity for those assistants to be on the road and not being somebody that just shows up 4 or 5 hours a day, especially in our sport, that we're not required, but that's part of our job, is to be there with the rest of the staff just as much as they're there. The only difference is they're getting a paycheck and they have to go out on the road and recruit. And I think it would take a lot of stress and off those two paid assistants that are basically overworked for the amount of players that we have in comparison to other sports within the NCAA that have the equal number of players to the equal number of coaches that are paid. And that's my personal opinion. I've done this for quite often and quite so many years. And, I'm not trying to be negative, but, I think that it's just kind of shooed to the side, and it's not really an actual data-driven idea.
Totally agree. I think you're right. There's some misconceptions on what, when these votes come up, there's probably some misconceptions on what people actually are signing up for versus what they think they are. So, I love that. It's a good answer.
Sure.
Go ahead, Zeke.
I'm going to go with recruiting too. Being able to go recruit just opens the door to a majority of different things. No head coach is going to hire a guy that doesn't have recruiting experience, doesn't know the summer coaches, doesn't know how to make a schedule at a perfect game tournament because it's hectic. It's just a lot of things that a head coach isn't going to allow you to do or hire you because you don't have that experience. Being a volunteer and being able to go recruit just opens the door to a lot of things, such as networking, going out and recruiting. You're around all the other coaches that probably don't know who you are. And just being able to go out and recruit will just open the door to maybe like, hey, you meet this guy and he likes you and he gets a head job someday. He might be like, hey, that guy seemed pretty sharp on the recruiting trail. I might give him a call. Even if they don't want to fund it or do it like that, I know a lot of volunteers would probably try to make their own way out there, but just being limited to recruiting just shuts down a lot of opportunities for volunteers to just work their way up the chain. And that's the thing I would definitely change. Before the healthcare, before money, before anything, I would just be like, let's let the volunteer go recruit.
Yeah, really cool. And you're right, making a schedule at one of those crazy tournaments, that is
Georgia.
that is something. Go ahead,
Yes.
Curt. What would you go with?
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse here, but recruiting 100%. I've been like these guys, been doing it a while. I've lost out on jobs because they said it's because of recruiting experience, and I just like these guys, I've went to a million camps and showcases to work and to network and to do those things. And it's simple. I'm not rubbing elbows with people that make decisions. I'm rubbing elbows with guys like me at that job. I was fortunate this summer with our head coach going with Team USA. I got to go fill in and recruit on the road for, a month or so. And just being able to meet new people, like I said, meeting head coaches, meeting recruiting coordinators, people that might be a head coach one day, I think is super beneficial. And it's just, there's a huge difference between the people I meet at camps and showcases compared to, the few times I've been able to actually go out and recruit. And it's just tough. Like these guys said, I don't care about money. I don't care about health insurance. I don't care about anything. I just want the ability to kind of show that, hey, like I know what I'm doing, or, I'm willing to work. I'm willing to put in the time. And it's tough to do that when they won't let you. So 100% recruiting.
Well said. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I'll follow suit here and just say that recruiting is important. And I'll kind of take a step further and say if, looking at what a college coach actually is, like by definition, it's more than just coaching on the field from, during practice. Everybody knows that. Recruiting is the lifeblood of any program. And I don't think any administrator would argue with that. And so if we're going to have this position that's called a coach, I think it just makes sense to allow them to do the job of a coach, which is to recruit, which is what I think we all agree with. We're missing out. We're basically prohibited from doing a job that is in the name of what our job is. And it's such an important part from, everything that was said here, from networking, from actually recruiting, building relationships with players that we're prospective student athletes. It's all such valuable experience from so many angles and so many levels that to not be able to do it is just a big letdown for us, for sure. So I'll definitely second that. If there's anything to change, I would change the prohibition on recruiting for volunteers.
Yep. Love it. Winnie is going in and out. So Danny, Winnie, you got us? You're up if you can hear me, Winnie. You got us, Winnie? Oh, you're muted. Go for it. So the question is, which restriction would you eliminate? Let's see.
Yeah, I would.
There you go.
You got me
Gotcha.
there, Runes?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, apologize about that. I would eliminate the. I would add the compensation piece to the conversation. I think recruiting is extremely important. I think there's ways as a volunteer that you can help your team and program in terms of recruiting. But it's real difficult being a volunteer and getting on the road and working, 40, 60 hours a week without being compensated. You don't have the ability when you're at home to work a secondary job. And I think all of us as volunteers have a secondary job currently. So it's difficult for us to be on the road, the whole time, without having some type of pay. I think it's a difficult conversation because, head coaches are not hiring volunteers because they don't get out to recruit. But a lot of young coaches are getting out of the game, essentially, are going to.
Yeah, and I'll finish Winnie's thoughts there. I mean, that's. I'll speak for you guys and say that, hey, if we want to have a good pipeline of coaching in our sport, then paying you guys would be. I hear what you guys are saying. The pay, you can figure out the pay, but if you can't go out and recruit, that's a roadblock you can't clear. But I think for the good of the sport, that it's just the dumbest thing in the world that we would not value the pipeline. It'd be like saying that you can't give freshmen scholarships. Like they have to, every new player has to be a walk-on. That'd be the dumbest thing in the world. Like, what's a great way to not attract great talent, right? So anyway, pardon the ramble there. Hey, let's keep going. So here's the next question. I want you guys to name the best player you've ever shared a uniform with. So the team you've coached, guy you've played with. It could be the most impactful, most talented, however you want to take it, but you've been in the same dugout with this person. Best player you've ever worn the same uniform as. Danny, you kick us off.
Joe Panic. He was in one of my teammates at St. John's, first rounder, San Francisco Giants. As a freshman, he basically proved himself to be in that starting position at shortstop, and kind of followed St. John's the next few years, being at Long Beach State. And it wasn't a guy you'd expect to be a first rounder, but you knew he was going to get the job done, had some power, had some tools, quick hands, quick feet, made every play. And you followed him into his sophomore and junior year, and then shockingly he was drafted in the first round by the Giants and basically saved them to win a World Series a few years back.
Hey, what year? Your senior year, Danny, if I'm not mistaken, 2008. You guys, St. John's goes to a regional. What year was Joe Panic on that team? Was that his freshman year?
Actually, 2009 was his freshman year. I was on the 2008 team as well.
Okay.
I played until 2009.
Got it.
His freshman year was 2009.
Got it. So 9 was your guys' regional team, or 8 was your regional team?
8.
Got it.
We went to
cool.
Rice University and played against Texas and Sam Houston State.
Gotta love it. Zeke, go ahead. Oh, Zeke, you've got some good choices.
I know. I want to say Will Smith just because he was killing it, but I'm going to go with Brendan McKay. Brendan we joked and called him Babe Ruth. I mean, he threw 95 as a pitcher, and then he hit, 20-something jacks his junior year. Brendan was just he's like a unicorn, man. Like, he could do anything you wanted. I remember my freshman year when Courtwright told him that he can only hit home runs pull side, and he kind of just turned around and looked at Corey and kind of scoffed, and then he just hit 3 home runs in a row, oppo, just out like it was nothing. And he's like, "What'd you say, Corey?" Nothing to say. And from that moment on, I was like, "Wow, I've never seen anybody ever do that, and I probably will never see anybody do that ever again." So I'm definitely going to go with Brendan McKay.
Oh, that's great. Great answer. Go ahead, Curt.
Probably got to go with Luke Voigt. He was the home run champ last year, I think. So pretty big name. If not him, probably Ross Detweiler. He's still in the big leagues. He was the 6th overall pick. So those two, I'd say.
Voigt had battled in. Didn't Voigt was like a big time football player and had a lot of injuries left over from his football career that he was dealing with at Missouri State? Is that fact? Is that correct?
I think so. Nothing that I know of huge one, big injuries or anything like that. But I think it definitely kind of nabbed him, a few times. But yeah,
because he was a late bloomer. He wasn't like an All-American at Missouri State or anything. I don't remember that at least.
No, he's still in my phone as Teddy Bear because when he came in, that's his name in my phone is Teddy Bear. Because when he came in, he was just this soft, smiley teddy bear kid, and all of a sudden I look and he's absolutely ginormous now. So it's crazy how much he's transformed his body.
Yeah, you could see that part. Yeah, that makes sense. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually didn't. I haven't played with any or coached any current big leaguers or anything like that. But actually, in high school, I don't know if this counts, but I used to work out at a place that Ryan Kalish used to work out at. He played for the Red Sox in the big leagues and the Cubs, I believe. And just a kind of a memorable moment for me was we were working out one day. We were all kind of doing our thing. And his younger brother, was a left-handed pitcher at George Mason. I believe he got drafted as well. I'm not sure. But they were both working out, and his younger brother was kind of messing around or what, not really totally focused. And he just got in a full-on fist fight with him in the middle of the gym. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like 14 or 15 at the time, and I'm just like, wow, man, these big leaguers are, I was a young kid at the time. The big leaguers are serious, man. It's a whole nother thing. So, and he was obviously a really great player, and just had a presence around there, and it was pretty wild. But
that's awesome.
I'd say that's the story I got.
Yeah. Not the fist fight part's not awesome. The intensity part is awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
I like it. So Winnie, if you didn't hear me, the question is, if I can get you back here, the question is best player you've ever worn the same uniform as. So whether you coached this player or whether he was a teammate of yours. Let's see if we can get Winnie in here. This next question, it might be my favorite one. Can you hear me, Winnie? I feel like I'm going to be able to hear you. You got me? I don't think you can hear us. Give me a thumbs up if
can
you
you
can
hear me
hear me,
now?
Winnie. Oh yeah, gotcha. Go for it. Did you hear the question, or you want me to
Okay.
repeat it?
I think something about a uniform and the best you've
Best player,
coached with or played
you've
with.
ever coached or played with. Yep, best player you've ever coached or played with.
I think on the coaching side, the first guy that jumps out is James Caprillion. He was a first rounder out of ULA in the summer.
Oh, you
he'd
had him in the
probably be
summertime?
I had him in the summertime with the Wenatchee Apple Sox, 2011.
Was that when he was
12, I
entering
think,
his
would have been.
freshman year at UCLA? He hadn't gotten there yet.
Yep. So he was a high school, kid coming in before his freshman year. So he was a good one. The other one would be Corbin Martin, who's a first rounder, I think, out of Texas A&M as well.
That's right. You had was when you were at Matson, was Ben Taylor the head coach when you guys were winning the league every year? That's great. Yeah, Corbin Martin was a stud up there.
I spent 2 summers up there with Matson, which was great.
When you had Caprillion, was it like, oh my gosh, how is this kid getting to college? Like, was it that loud already, or was it just more? It had the makings of being really special.
It was a pretty effortless, 93, 94 for what I remember, with the really, really good slider. He was kind of the first guy I think that I coached ever that I knew was different, that I think was going to be a big leaguer from the get-go, that he had that type of makeup and stuff, that it was no question he was going to be able to make the big leagues.
Yep. Got it. Love it. All right, let's keep whipping around here. Danny, I'm going to come back to you. Here's the next question. This has got to be an opponent. I want you to take one aspect of an opponent. Like, I'll take the school you're at right now. Coaching against Cal State Fullerton. Danny, one of my favorite things, Dave Serrano, who's now the head coach at Cal State Northridge, I thought he was as good at calling a game as anybody. Like, in 0-2, the Fullerton pitchers would throw fastball in like it was easy. It was, and our hitters hated it. I mean, it was not it made perfect sense why they had so much success. So it could be you guys go anywhere you want with this, but I want you to take some aspect of an opponent, whether you played against them or coached against them, that you feel like, dang, like I love the way they do X. Go ahead, Danny.
John Savage at UCLA. He's an unbelievable mind. I had the opportunity to talk to him during my high school career. And then I got an opportunity to watch him as an assistant coach at Long Beach State. And see where and what he's thinking throughout the game. Every single detail from pitch to pitch to inning, to the 27 outs that they had in the game were basically scripted, and they were going through his mind. You could tell he had already scripted it before the game had started on what could happen, what would happen, and how the actual result was of the game. And he's a brilliant mind and an unbelievable head coach.
Yep, I would agree. Yeah, Coach Savage. Coached against him for several years. Not fun. Not good. He was great. So great. And, like a coach for Mike Gillespie. Yeah, everything about it. Zeke, go ahead.
Mike Gillespie, another one, Skip great.
Yep, no doubt. Go ahead. Go for it, Zeke.
I'm going to go with Vanderbilt.
Uh-huh.
Being at Louisville, we played them every year in a midweek game. And this past year is my first year at Georgia Tech. We played them in their regional at their place, and they beat us in the regional final. But I wouldn't say there's one thing they do well, because they do everything well. They do the little things, just from the pitchers to the base running to defense. I mean, they do everything so well, and it just shows how good of a job Coach Corbin and his staff does. And I think they're the gold standard, obviously, of college baseball. And I can't say one thing they do that's so well, because, like I said, they do everything so well. But, I've always admired the way they ran the bases, because they run the bases hard. They're going to go first or third in your face. They're going to go second at home. It's just the little things, like I said, that they do so well, and they just do better than everyone else.
Yeah, I'm with you. I what you just said speaks to me, because if you think about Vanderbilt, they arguably have the best recruiting class in the country every single year. But yet when you describe Vanderbilt, it's not just that they have just a bunch of stars that are playing together like a summer ball team. It's like there's just a very consistent way they play the game. It's just steady and composed and clean. And so, and they're just rotating incredible athletes through that system. That's really good, Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, so when I was at Post, we opened up at University of Tampa down at their place. And at the time, they were the defending Division II national champions. And this was 2020. And, I mean, they were it was indescribable. I'd never thought that I would see that level of baseball, like especially, at the Division II level, but anywhere. I mean, every out they made, every ball they hit, it seemed like it was just an absolute rocket. That I can't even tell you what the scoreboards were in those 3 games, but they pitched it, they hit it, they ran, and they didn't take IO once before any of the games. It was just like they rolled out there. Yeah, it was just they rolled out there. They were very relaxed. It was just kind of a pro ball kind of feeling to like their team, I guess, from the opposing dugout. And they had pro guys on their bench, I think, because there's this loophole in Division II where you can have played pro ball and still be eligible. And so they were just top to bottom so talented, and I feel like they just didn't miss on anything. So University of Tampa just steamrolled us, man. It was wild.
That program obviously they've won 1 million Division II national championships. Do they have like a traditional or reputational strength, Jack? Like, do they tend to skew more towards offense or pitching, or is it just their reputation is they're just really, really good?
I'm not sure historically what it would be, but at least from my perspective, they pitched really well, they defended really well, but their offense was just so dominant that I think that would definitely have been that was the most wowing part of their game from my perspective.
Outstanding. Go ahead, Curt.
Sorry, I kind of lost you. We're having a heck of a storm right now. Was the question?
Pick an opponent, like a strength of an opponent that has really struck you. Whether it could be from your playing days or from your coaching days.
Yeah, I'd say playing days. We had a rivalry with Creighton. Creighton was just one team that I always remember. They just did everything right all the time. I think they led the country in fielding percentage most of those years I was there. If they get a guy on first, nobody out there gonna bunt him over. They get the bunt down. So just like I don't necessarily want to say small ball, but they just did all the little things right. And at the end of the game, you're like, what? How did we just lose? Not taken away from saying they're not talented or anything, but just seemed like just every little thing they did right. And it was a good rivalry because it made me mad that they kept, beating us, just doing little things right. So, but I definitely respect them for it.
Yeah, that's a great pull. Coach Service, if you want to really have a good infield talk, Coach Service is amazing. They field 980 every year, and they play on grass in blizzard conditions. Like, there's no reason that Creighton should field as high of a percentage as they do. But Coach Service, when you get into an infield conversation with him, it becomes crystal clear why they excel. He's awesome, really awesome. All right. So Danny, let's whip around the horn with this, and if Winnie comes back, I'll pepper him with a couple questions. So give me a player from again, some of you guys have just been there a couple months, so you're kind of taking a guess. That's okay. So I want a player from your current 2022 roster that's a player to look out for. A player, it could be your best player, it could be a player that you feel like's had a great fall, but give me one player to look out for in 2022 from your current roster.
I got to give you 2. They're even right now. 2 guys that I really, really think might surprise some people would be J.J. Cruz out of Gar High School. Left-handed bat, infielder, can play all 4 positions. And Cole Ehrman out of L.A., Los Angeles, California. He's a catcher. I'm really excited about those 2 guys from an offensive standpoint.
Ehrman is a freshman. What year is Ehrman? I don't recognize that name.
Ehrman is a draft-eligible sophomore.
Okay.
And J.J. Cruz, I believe, is a senior.
Got it.
But, awesome. Yeah.
I love it. Go ahead, Zeke.
I'm biased, and I'm going to go with I want to go with Kevin Parada, our catcher, because I work with the catchers. I'm biased, but I'm going to go with somebody that nobody knows. His name's Chandler Simpson. He's a transfer from UAB. he led the Northwoods League in stolen bases this year. I want to say he was like 53 for 56 or something ridiculous. And he just does things on a baseball field that look so easy. And we timed another day on a bunt for hit to first base. He ran a 3.6.
Wow.
And I'm not kidding you. I don't think this guy could be thrown out. Like, he steals bases with ease. He'll get a horrible jump on a guy that's like a 1-3, and he'll be safe easily. He plays shortstop. He's a great defender. He's got a good arm. And man, he's hard to strike out. He puts the ball in play, and he really utilizes his speed. And I think he's going to be a name that a lot of people are going to talk about after this year. And, my comp for him is Enrique Bradfield.
Wow.
Without a doubt, they're like clones of each other, the way they play. And, like he hits like Curtis Granderson. He don't have the pop like Curtis Granderson. He puts a bat in the shoulder and goes straight to the ball just like Curtis Granderson. And Chandler Simpson's definitely a guy I think that's going to have a really big year for us.
That's awesome. He's a right-handed hitter or left-handed hitter?
Left-handed hitter.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait to see him. That's awesome. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it here. I got to go with two also.
Go for it.
One guy's one of our captains, Will Jacobson. He's a corner infielder, pitcher, two-way guy. Played in the Cape this past summer. He's a really just a solid player. He's got a big presence. Obviously, he's a great leader. And I think he's obviously a very, very talented player. He's going to make a big dent in the Ivy League for sure. But then also another one I got to name him. He's a freshman. He's Sean Matson. He's also a two-way guy, switch hitter. But on the mound, he was lights out this fall for the most part. And got to give him credit. He's definitely someone to look for going forward. He's really talented for us too.
Where's he from, Jack?
Which one?
Matson.
He's from Pennsylvania, Chadds Ford.
Oh, Philly kid. All right, go
Yep.
Eagles. Like it. Very good. Go ahead, Curt.
I'd say our first baseman, Justin Janus. He led the Big Ten in hitting last year. Then he went to the Northwoods and led the Northwoods in hitting. So he's done nothing but hit, and he came out this fall and hit everything again. So hopefully he just keeps that up and just is a hitting machine. And he's got a tool that not many people have.
If you had to break down his hit tool, I hear his name all the time, Curt. Is it hand-eye coordination? Is it vision? What's the deal?
I think it's a little bit of both there. Because he controls the zone very, very well, but he's just got something between his hands and it hitting the barrel. I mean, he just barrels everything. It doesn't matter what pitch it is, where it's at, what's the count. I think he's a great two-strike hitter too. It's pretty impressive. You wish you could clone that, or you wish you could steal what he has and put it in other guys, but he just kind of has that thing that allows him to do it. Special.
If one of your pitchers punch him out in inter-squad games, so they just lose it, just literally start touchdown dance on the mound.
I don't think he struck out this fall. I don't think he did. It's insane. I haven't seen anything like it.
That's great. I can't wait to see him this spring.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Gentlemen, it happens every time. We're at 58 minutes, and it felt like we talked for 58 seconds. It's so fun, but it goes so fast. I really appreciate you guys doing this. This was fun. I enjoyed very much researching you guys ahead of time. Jack, I want you to know that when I was the volunteer at Arizona State, I gave math tutoring lessons. I tutored kids in math on the side to make money, so it wasn't just baseball lessons. So us math guys got to stick together, even though I didn't have a math degree like you did. But again, fellas, I look forward to staying in touch with you. This was great. You guys were great. Really enjoyed this. And again, for the listeners, we're going to keep doing this. I got every Sunday booked up through the end of December, and we're going to have a couple more in January as just a chance to meet these guys that are the lifeblood of our sport and the next up and coming. So many of us were volunteer coaches at some point in our career. It really is a rite of passage. So, gentlemen, really appreciate it. Be good. We'll be in touch. Please stay in touch. And that's it. Again, thanks to the folks at Netting Professionals for being our presenting sponsor. Really appreciate that. And that is it. We'll catch everybody next Sunday. Take care.